Welcome to the Business Review, a daily program that delves into the latest economic stories in the financial market around the world. From currency affairs to technology stories, we bring you the best from around the world.
As Sharifuddin begins to dream about leaving the cramped Singapore dormitory where he has spent weeks under coronavirus quarantine, fears about his future are creeping in. The 42-year-old Bangladeshi construction site supervisor is one of the thousands of low-income migrant workers trapped in packed bunk rooms that have been ravaged by the coronavirus, accounting for more than 90% of Singapore's 38,000 infections. As Singapore began easing its lockdown measures this month, migrants like Sharifuddin started to think about returning to the outside world, bringing to the surface worries about jobs and debts as Singapore braces for its deepest ever recession. The Singapore government is giving companies tax breaks to try to ensure migrants get paid while under quarantine and introduced measures to help laid-off workers find new positions without having to first travel back to their home country, a core complaint of many labourers. Lawrence Wong, the co-head of Singapore's virus task force, said the government had taken steps to help alleviate the concerns of workers around job security, but added layoffs were possible given the grim economic outlook. Wong added that some workers may remain quarantined in their dormitories until August or possibly beyond as the government completes mass testing. The pandemic has drawn attention to the stark inequalities in the modern city-state, where more than 300,000 labourers from Bangladesh, India and China often live in rooms for 12 to 20 men, working jobs that pay as little as $14.30 a day. That is higher than they would make at home, but according to the Manpower Ministry, the median salary for Singaporeans in 2019 was 4,563 Singaporean dollars per month. The bigger worry for many migrants like Sharifuddin is the debts they have racked up securing jobs in Singapore. Migrants will usually be charged $7,000 to $10,000 in fees by a recruitment agent in their home country, equivalent to more than a year of their basic salary, according to rights groups. If they lose their jobs, this debt could haunt their families for years. Wong, the minister, said the government will continue to work to improve migrants' lives in Singapore, but tackling issues like fees is difficult because many agents operate in the workers' home countries outside the city-state's jurisdiction. Singapore's government has pledged to improve living conditions for migrant workers in the short term and build new, higher specification dormitories over the coming years.
Clad in black, Beijing's tough city inspectors descended on street vendors this week with orders for them to disperse, mere days after the Chinese premier praised curbside stalls as an overnight generator of jobs in a virus-hit economy. Yan Ying is among many vendors who recently started to set up a stall for selling cross-border merchandise every evening. Yan said while selling black tea marketed by the tourism company she works for that she's not received any wages from her boss since February, and if she fails to sell the tea, she'll be fired and end up with nothing. Street stalls made an unexpected comeback last week after Premier Li Keqiang said on a visit to Shandong province that roadside vendors were the vitality of China. But the State Council or Cabinet has yet to announce any new policy in support of roadside vending. Beijing Daily, a newspaper run by the city government, said that letting the street market economy proliferate will harm the image of the Chinese capital. The Beijing city government decided to make any additional comments. Some state media said the street stall economy is more suitable in central and western cities.
Life for New Zealanders returned to normal as the government lifted all social distancing restrictions except for border controls after declaring it was free of the coronavirus. Cafes in New Zealand's capital of Wellington were seen packed with customers, and public transportation also resumed at full capacity. New Zealand is one of the first countries in the world to return to pre-pandemic normality, with public and private events, the retail and hospitality industries, and all public transport allowed to resume without the distancing rules still in place across much of the world. The reopening comes after months of restrictions, including about 7 weeks of a strict lockdown in which most businesses were shut and everyone except essential workers had to stay home.
China's top political advisor Wang Yang has called for more efforts to firmly grasp the overall objective of work in northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and further consolidate the social stability achievements there. Wang, a member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee and chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference National Committee, paid a research visit to Xinjiang on the region's long-term development. Wang said a lot of work had been done to explore and improve measures and methods to achieve the overall objective of work and unite officials and people of all ethnic groups in Xinjiang. He stressed ethnic and religious work is important to long-term social stability, but more effort should be made to fully implement the party's basic policy on religious work and help religious believers to cultivate a sense of motherland, citizenship, and the rule of law. Wang said development is the economic foundation for enduring peace and stability. The fruits of development must be delivered by improving people's livelihood and building public support. He added China needed to implement new development philosophy and strengthen confidence in high-quality development. He also said China needed to make greater efforts to foster industries with distinctive features and advantages, improve the quality of urbanization, and improve the business environment and focus on the last challenges of deep poverty and establish a sound mechanism to prevent any return to poverty. Wang said development is the economic foundation for enduring peace and stability, and the fruits of the development must be delivered by improving livelihood and building public support. Wang pointed out that the Xinjiang production and construction core is a strategic force to achieve the overall objective of work in Xinjiang. The Corps should consolidate its achievements in deepening reform and continue to build and strengthen its overall strength and earnestly fulfill its duties of maintaining stability and safeguarding border areas.
China recently delivered a shipment of much-needed medical supplies to Colombia to help combat the COVID-19 epidemic as the South American nation grapples to contain the outbreak. As Latin America has become a global hotspot for COVID-19, the donation of medical supplies worth $1.5 million will enhance Colombia's anti-epidemic efforts. The donation includes 30,000 COVID-19 testing kits, 700,000 face masks, and other medical gear. The Chinese embassy said food has also been donated for vulnerable families in Colombia. At a press conference, Colombian officials and the Chinese ambassador spoke of having to band together during times of pandemic. Colombia's Foreign Minister Claudia Blum expressed gratitude for the support and donations, which are not just from China's central government, but from local governments and China's private sectors too. The South American nation has in recent years expanded trade relations with the Asian giant. In an interview with CGTN, the Chinese ambassador to Colombia, Lan Hu, said the collaboration during this global health crisis goes beyond material donations. Lan said an additional shipment of Chinese aid will be arriving by the end of June.
Russians got a taste of an open-air cinema under the night sky when a Moscow drive-in movie theater reopened for business after the city's coronavirus lockdown. On the bill was My Spy, a US action comedy, and with regular cinemas still closed 3 days after the 2-month lockdown was lifted, scores of moviegoers packed up to watch. The owner of the movie chain of Karo is running about the 100-vehicle capacity site in northwestern Moscow and said it would be exploring how it could open more drive-in theaters even after the virus restrictions were lifted. If the regular movie theaters reopen as planned next month, Karo estimates revenues across Russia's cinema chains will fall between 35% and 40% this year. According to recommendations by the country's consumer health watchdog, theater audience members will remain at least 1.5 meters apart, and employees will have to disinfect cinemas halls between screenings.
This has been. Tune in next time for more up-to-date developments in the financial market. This is Farah Al Hashim reporting from Paris for KTV2 for the program The Business Review.